Hello everyone, this is Swati Shastri taking a session on computer networks and security. So, this is a new module that we are going to cover today. So, before going with the things that we are going to cover today, let us just have an overview that what we did in the previous classes. Um, I am specific saying about classes because this is a moment that we have finished our module 1 and we are entering into module 2. So just we'll have a small recap of what we have done in previous things. So if you consider the previous classes, we have most importantly we have learned about protocols. So before going to protocols, we have actually seen what is an application architecture, where there were two kinds of models that we have learned in detail, that is client server model and P2P model. We have seen that several kinds of service requirements are there, and that requirements are being fulfilled by different kinds of protocols from the application layer. We have also seen certain transport models, that is internet transport service models, especially we have seen about TCP and UDP, which was just an overview. And we have seen about specific protocols like HTTP, FTP, SMTP, POP, IMAP, DNS, P2P, all those things. And considering our HTTP as main thing, we have just seen a kind of programming that is called as socket programming that was being designed for client and server model. Remember, we did not do any kind of coding for P2P model, but we have done kind of coding for server model, client and server model. We have just gone through that, and that particular client and server model is going to make use of a protocol called as HTTP. So this was just an overview of what we did in previous some 12 to 13 classes, that is regarding module 1 of your syllabus. Okay, so let us start with module 2 of your syllabus. So if you want to learn contents of module 2, the best book available for your syllabus or for you is computer networking, which is called as a top down approach. Okay, so it's the transport layer that we are going to learn. This is your second module, or the contents that you have to learn. Okay, so we'll just in today's class we'll just begin with what is transport layer and what are the protocols in that, and what actually is happening in the transport layer is what we are going to see today. Okay, so to just have an overview of what is the goal in studying our transport layer is that we have a specified goal, and the specified goal is that we want to understand the principles behind the working of a transport layer service. So whatever transport layer you have, I hope you already remember that there are 5 layers. First layer was application layer, second layer was transport layer, third is network layer, then comes is with your data link layer, and finally you end up with physical layer. So you are going to work, you have already worked on application layer, but next is the aim is that you are going to work regarding your transport layer, correct? So transport layer, obviously all the layers provide certain amount of services, so we want to understand what actually our transport layer service is and what is it providing, to whom it is providing. So few services that transport layer are going to provide you is multiplexing and demultiplexing, a reliable data transfer, it can provide flow control, it can provide congestion control. Be least bothered about how is it getting provided by this particular things. We'll be going through that in the whole of the module. Okay, so similarly, if you will be learning about the goal of covering this particular module is that we want to learn about internet transport protocols, that is the protocols present in this particular layer. Especially there are two, UDP and TCP. So UDP considered as connectionless, you do not need any connection. Connection TCP is considered as connection oriented in the sense there is a specific path between your sender machine and your receiver machine, so that particular path is fixed. So that is Why we call it as connection oriented, and TCP when used it also provides something called as congestion control. So these are the goals that we'll be achieving or we'll be learning. Will set right all these things in this particular module. So to just have an outline of what are we going to study in the whole module is that we are going to learn about the services that we are going to cover today. Then in the next class we'll be covering about multiplexing and demultiplexing. Similarly, going on, if you go on, you will be seeing connectionless transport protocol, that is called as UDP, and have to move from a connectionless to connection oriented. So we started building that particular reliable data transfer. Why? Because connectionless is always unreliable, right? So I want to build an unreliable data transfer. So what principles are being applied? Plus we'll see that how connection oriented transport protocol TCP works. This was a biggest achievements. What was its structure, how it provides RDT, what is flow control, how does it perform connection management, and we'll also see certain principles of congestion. And lastly, we'll see that how TCP congestion control is actually going to occur. So these are the things that we are going to cover in the second module. So these are the things that we are going to cover in the whole of the module. Okay, so to see with what are we going to cover in today's class, these are the contents that we are going to cover in the today's class. That is, we are trying to introduce ourselves to the transport layer and what services it provides. We'll just see a relationship between transport layer and network layer protocols and have an overview of what transport layer is going to do in the internet. How is it important? So as an outcome of this lecture, you will be going to have a network layer service and you are going to infer the whole of the UDP and TCP protocols. Okay, so let us start with what is a transport layer, and we'll try to compare it. Okay, so when you consider any transport layer, so it is a kind of a service and it is having certain amount of protocols in them. So if you see in the diagram, your visibility, if you have that, see here you have a client, there is a server. The condition remains same if both the machines are clients, no problem. So every client is having all the 5 layers, that is application layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, physical layer, and both of them have. So we are trying to have a communication between the transport layer over here and here. So this kind of a connection between transport layer of one machine and transport layer of another machine, we call it as logical end-to-end transports. So from the application layer, you're actually trying to pick up a packet through the application layer. This is being transferred to transport layer, then network layer, physical layer, data link layer, physical layer, and all along it is going in the reverse direction over here. So this is what is our goal over here in the transport layer. So we say that we are going to have we are going to have or provide a logical communication between the apps. So from sending a packet from a transport layer to another transport layer of another machine, we call it as logical communication. Okay, so whenever you consider transport protocols, it is running in end systems. It is always running in end systems. So none of the routers and all have any of these layers like application layer and transport layer. So routers are least bothered about that. So only end systems in the sense either client machine or server machine, the machine that is used by human beings directly or which is in a contact of the user, we call them as end systems. So only end systems are going to make use of transport layer protocols. So on the sending side, this particular thing, if I consider that someone wants to send a packet from this machine to this machine, then on the sending side the machine breaks up the app messages into segments and then gives it to the network layer. So whatever message is coming from the application layer, transport layer will break it into different segments and it will pass it on to the network layer. So transport layer is going to link you between application layer and the network layer. So whatever application layer messages are there, that messages will be broken into segments and those segments one by one will be given to the network layer. Similarly, what happens on the receiving side? So receiving side is vice versa of this. So it will go in a reverse direction. So transport layer will pick a packet from the network layer, that is, which is a segment. So it will wait until and unless all the segments are being received by the transport layer. So it will reformulate it and join all the contents and send a message to the application layer. So on the sending side, you're taking a message from the application layer, divide it into segments and give it to the network layer. On the receiving side, you take all the segments from the network layer, join it into one particular message and give it to the application layer. So this is the work of the transport layer, working on both the sides, as sending side as well as a receiving side. So to do these things, you have two protocols, and that is TCP protocol and UDP protocol. Okay, so let us understand how are they different from network layer. So to differentiate between transport layer and network layer, usually network layer is going to provide a logical communication between hosts. Okay, so one host, you have host number one. If you see in the previous slide, this was a host, and this is also a host, this is a host, and this is also a host. So the communication between hosts are provided by network layer, but communication between the processes, what is a process? Process is a content that is running in your application layer. So messages are being generated by the process. So you want someone who is giving a communication between two processes, and that thing is provided by your transport layer. So network layer is a logical communication between hosts. It is trying to communicate between one machine and another machine. So there is a specific process running in one particular machine. If you want that specific process running in machine number one to communicate with the specific process in the machine number two, that time you can have a transport layer, or transport layer is going to support that, and it also relies on enhances of what network layer services are providing. So it relies, or it depends on the network layer, no doubt, but it is always trying to serve the process. So now let us understand with a small example and see just a scenario of how actually the transport layer is going to work. Okay, so let's for example consider that there is two houses. So one is called as Anne's house and one more is Bill's house. So Anne's house, consider that there are 12 kids in Anne's house, and at the same time there are 12 kids in Bill's house, and all these people are cousins of each other. Okay, so these people usually write a letter to each other every day. So consider that there is, every kid is writing letters to each and every kid in the opposite home. Okay, so there are 12 kids here, there are 12 kids here. One kid will write 12 letters to this particular home on the same, I mean all the kids are doing the same thing. So totally we can say that we have 144 letters coming out of both the homes. So from Anne's home to Bill's home there is 144 letters being sent, and from Bill's home to Anne's home similarly 144 letters are being sent. Okay, so when you consider in the Anne's home, the scenario is that there is Anne who is trying to collect all the letters from all the kids. Out of these 12 kids, she is also one of the kid. Okay, so she collects letters from all the kids and she sends it or posts it to the Bill's home. Okay, so in Bill's home there is one boy who is a Bill who is going to collect all the letters sent by the Anne and distribute it here. And meanwhile, what he does is he collects all the letters from Bill's home, from his home, and hands it over to the postman, and he is going to revert back to the Annie. Okay, so when Anne's home and Bill's home, when you consider, now Anne is or Bill, they are providing services as TCP or UDP or protocols are doing. What are they doing? They are collecting all the messages and transferring it to the network layer, who is a postman. Who's a postman? Postman, what is he going to do? He's providing a logical communication between hosts, right? So he's going to transfer all your letters from machine number 1, that is home number 1, to home number 2, or from Anne's home to Bill's home, correct? So the collection process is done by Anne and collection distribution process is done by Bill whenever letters are moving from Anne to Bill. But when it is in the reverse direction, if Bill's home's letters are to be forwarded to Anne's homes, what Bill has to do? Bill is going to collect all the contents and give it to the postman, and distribution will be done by the Anne, correct? So that time Bill is a sender and Anne is a receiver. So depending on the sender and receiver, they either collect contents from the application layer and give it to the network layer, or they collect contents from the network layer and distribute it to the application layer. So this is what our analogy is. To go with the household analogy, when I consider two hosts, they are nothing but homes. There is Anne's house and there is Bill's house. They are nothing but hosts. And if I consider processes, kids are all the processes. So home being an application, having an application layer, has 12 kids who are going to write letter to every person in the next home, correct? So app messages are nothing but letters in the envelopes. These kids who are processes provide messages to the next home. Those letters are nothing but the messages that are to be sent to the other particular host that you have. Next, you have a transport layer protocol who is Anne and Bill, who is going to demux it into in-house siblings. So what is the meaning of demuxing? Demuxing in the sense distributing. Okay, so Anne will either collect or she will distribute, correct? She is either multiplexing, that is collection is nothing but multiplexing, or she will distribute. So if she wants to send the letters outside, she will collect it, that is multiplexing. But if she has received the letter from someone and she has to hand it over to the complete home, then she's trying to distribute. So she is behaving like a transport protocol like TCP or UDP. What they do, they distribute the messages to the application layer, or they take from the application layer and send it to the network layer. Okay, next there is a network layer protocol who is the postal service. The postman behaves like a network layer protocol. Okay, so this is how our transport layer is going to work between an application layer and a network layer. To continue with this analogy, few points we need to remember. When you consider Anne and Bill, they do all their work but within their respective homes. Anne is not going to Bill's home and deliver something, correct? Or Bill is not going to Anne's home and deliver something. They are not involved, for example, in storing the mail in any intermediate mail center or moving the mail from one mail center to the another mail center. They are least bothered about storing the mail, where the mail is. They do not keep a copy. They are not doing anything of that sort. They just collect the mails and hand it over to the postman, and they just collect the mails from the postman and distribute it in the home. So if we want to relate this thing to the transport layer protocols, when you consider these protocols, they are living in the end system. Within an end system, a transport moves messages from application process to the network edge, that is called as a network layer, or vice versa. They're either taking the message from the application layer or they are giving it to the network layer. So So vice versa is also true. So they are working in a single machine. Transport layer protocols will never come out of your host system and come outside and they start working. That is not true. Correct. So this is the key point analogy that we have to remember. So transport layer protocols are never exposed to the outside world. Okay, so whether you're using TCP or UDP, it is not known by the next person standing next to you. So whatever home contents are there, those things are always present inside your home, right? You do not discuss your home contents outside. That is what your transport layer protocols are going to do over here. Now consider that you have Anne and she wants to go on a holiday. So what does she do is she provides an in charge. Who is in charge? In charge is Susan. Okay. Similarly, if I say that on the boys side, like if you have Bill who goes on a holiday, he will give an in charge of Harley. Now these two people who are in charge, like Susan or Harley, they may not work the same as Anne and Bill were working. Correct? So their working style may be different, the way how they provide the service will be different. So the protocols present in the transport layer, there may be more than one kind of a protocol. Instead of one protocol you may use the second protocol, but the protocols behave different, they do not behave the same. And the second thing that you always have to remember in this analogy is that now Anne or Bill, if they are not giving any in charge and they're still working, they cannot guarantee like at what time your mail is going to come. So Anne's work is to just hand it over to the post, and she is completely depending on the post service at what time will the reply come back. So the postman taking the letter from you may just roam about the whole city and go and post, you never know. So that thing is always depending on the postman's presence, whether he's coming in, he's coming late, he is on work, he may not come. So all the services, be it Anne, Susan, Bill, Harley, anybody, they depend on the postman's presence, whether they come in, he's not coming in, or whether he's late, he's early. So whatever kind of problems are there, that is depending on the postman. So if I want to keep this analogy to the transport layer, whatever protocols present in the transport layer, however good they may be, they are always going to depend on the network layer. So transport layer protocol can just take contents from the network layer and give it to the application layer. But if network layer protocols or network layer itself doesn't provide any service, will not get any segments or packets from the below layers, then transport layer cannot help you. Okay, so to keep the analogy towards internet transport layer protocol, so if you speak, we have TCP considering it to be the most reliable one. That is, like TCP guarantees you saying that it will perform in order delivery. It will perform the exact message as it is. So actually in your transport layer, you are actually taking the message, dividing it into multiple parts and you're sending it, right? You're dividing it into multiple segments and you're forwarding it, right? So now on the receiver side, you have to take up all the segments, formulate the message properly and give it to the application layer. You cannot just give a haphazard one. So that in order putting of those segments into one single entity, that is called as message, in a proper order is called as in order delivery. So TCP guarantees that you can perform in order delivery as well as reliable delivery. Reliable in the sense it is not allowing you to lose any of the data, correct? So no doubt TCP provides this. TCP also says that it is going to give you congestion control. It is also says that it provides you flow control. It also says that it has a connection setup. Even though TCP is having all these things, the one thing that TCP is depending on is the network layer. So there is a specific protocol in the network layer and we call that protocol as IP. And the behavior of IP is it is unordered and it is unreliable. You cannot depend on network layer protocol, that is IP network layer protocol, because it is unreliable. It doesn't guarantee you that all the packets that has left the sender will reach the receiver. It is never going to guarantee you, and neither it guarantees then unordered things. So it has no frills extension, and it openly tells you that it gives you best effort possible. So even though TCP being a reliable protocol, called as a reliable protocol, it is always depending on IP protocol, because transport layer, whatever messages are there from the application layer, it will take and it will give it to the network layer. So it will be further network layer's responsibility to send it to the receiver, and after it reaches the receiver, network layer will send that particular segment to the transport layer. So until then, transport layer cannot perform anything. So transport layer cannot provide two services, and that is delay guarantees. It cannot say that like I will send the mail in like Anne cannot guarantee any of Tom, Dick and Harry inside that particular Anne's home saying that she will get a response from Bill's home within so much amount of time. That is not possible. Similarly, your transport layer protocols will never assure application layer saying that this will be the amount of delay. At the same time, it cannot assure the application layer that this will be the amount of bandwidth that will be provided to it. So transport layer in short, if you want, they are going to provide multiple amount of services for the application layer, but has its own problems, like it cannot measure any delays and bandwidths. Okay, so this was a small comparison or just a small introduction about transport layer protocol, and we just performed a comparison. To summarize today's lecture, we just saw what was the relationship between the transport layer and the network layer. Transport layer is going to provide reliability, rather network layer is most unreliable one. And we have also just seen an overview of what the transport layer is. So in the next class, we'll be seeing through what is multiplexing and what is demultiplexing, which is the most important part. One, multiplexing, it moves the message from application layer to the transport layer. Demultiplexing, to the network layer. Demultiplexing is vice versa. It takes the segments from the network layer and then provides it to the application layer. Okay, so thank you. We'll see in the next class.